Thunder! 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 Thundercats! Ho!
It's the Radical Retro Rewind with another Thundercats Reviews. Here with David, my brother, and me.
Hello all. Have you ever put something in a time capsule before? Have you ever been to a ceremony where they open a time capsule or they're putting one in for future generations? Did you ever just take a random box and put something in it and bury treasure in the backyard and think it was going to stay there?
I know you and Michael did, right? Or at least Michael would bury...
Oh my god, you want to hear something really gross, but not, I guess. I don't know. I recently planted a ficus tree in my backyard, and we were digging, and there was an iPhone box. And I'm going, why is there an iPhone box? And I'm like, did they just happen to fall in the dirt when they were, doing stuff like building or something? Oh, I flipped it with the shovel, I opened it up, and there's like a mound of like some kind of fur. It was somebody buried, which must have been like a gerbil or it was obviously, the size of an iPhone box. Obviously, I reburied it with the plant. Gave it its time resting it back to. But the other thing is that it didn't break down at all, which tells you something about...
I could tell those boxes are sturdy. Did you happen to remember what generation the iPhone box was?
No, I didn't want to look. I felt bad for the little critter inside. So, time capsules. This is what today's episode is about. It's about time capsules.
I thought you were going to tell me you found a caveman guarding it.
No, but the ground is very odd here. There was cavernous dirt underneath, and I don't know if because it's clay dirt here that it doesn't. Literally, it was like a little cave, like a tiny little cave, but it was all I don't know how the ground works here. It's just different. The clay is very hard. It's the desert.
So. That's true. It is the desert.
It should have been a buried treasure.
But inside might have led to a map to God knows. Which actually leads us to, that's right, the Time Capsule, episode 115. September 27th, 1985. The small summary before we get into the main thing is basically Jaga informs homesick Lion-O that the time capsule containing the history of Thundera is still intact somewhere on Third Earth. So it is a little bit of a scavenger hunt.
Who says? Well, why didn't he just tell you where it was to begin with?
Snarf, yeah.
So basically, I do have the question. So in the beginning, Lion-O is homesick. Jaga comes to him and says, you boy or whatever, you seem down or sad. You seem depressed.
Jaga.
And he basically tells him he wants to know about Thundera, and he tells him, you were only 12 when we left Thundera, and you really don't have any recollection of it. There's a time capsule.
And now you're a man.
Yes. So first thing I would have said is, just like when Glenda tells Dorothy she could click her heels 3 times instead of making her go through all that hell, why didn't you just tell me where the time capsule was and tell me it existed to begin with?
Because you know why Obi-Wan Jaga always has to teach a lesson. I honestly think this was a way to get him to battle this caveman at the end and improve, his strength. Teach you another lesson. I think that's what it is, but we'll get into that. Wilykat and Wilykat begin the episode are ecstatic by surfing on their brand new space boards, even though Kat is struggling a bit with his while Kit has fully mastered it. As a matter of fact, he thinks there's something wrong with the board, and he tells Kit that he's gonna go back to Panthro to fix it.
You gave me this hoverboard, and it's gonna burst into flames. Remember those things that
That was really happening!
But which is funny because this episode reminds me of Back to the Future, when Michael J. Fox is on the hoverboard / skateboard. Very, very much that time era where that was a big thing. In the future, we're going to be on hoverboards. Not yet.
It's like a surfboard that flies, basically. And these are what Wilykat and Wilykat will have for the remainder of the series, almost as how they venture out. Even if they're off playing or if they're going to help the other Thundercats, they kind of use the spaceboards for the rest of the series.
Which I think is great. It's their form of transportation that's unique to them, and not other people won't be able to ride it.
Well, Cheetara takes a little ride at the end, but that's neither here nor there. She could do anything. She does nothing wrong in our eyes.
This starts our segment, What Cheetara Not Do, our new segment.
At Kat's lair, Panthro unveils his newest invention. Talk about ahead of the game, Panthro. He makes voice-activated communications, which he has installed in Cheetara's bow staff, Tiger's bolo whip, and his own nunchucks, allowing the Thundercats to easily stay in touch with each other. So we got voice-style Siri, and we got the Apple Watch, and or different ways for the
And Chitara or Tiger's going to be like, Panther's going to come up to him and go, we all know that Siri and everybody's listening to our conversations, right? Because as soon as you talk about, like, I'm thinking about buying a new car, all of a sudden ads for new cars and emails for new cars and every kind of thing about new cars, and your search turns into new cars, and Siri's like, do you want a new car? Immediately comes up. So my joke was going to be Panther comes up with something, and Chitara's like, how did you know that I needed that? Because I've been listening through your staff, girl.
I'm sorry, did you say you needed a new staff? And Siri, is she gonna even get it right, though, this voice communication?
Siri doesn't understand anything I say, no matter how hard I try to articulate what I'm saying. I could say, the sky is blue, and Siri will say, elephants are killing people! And I'm literally doing it in front of people saying, am I speaking that off that you wouldn't understand it? And they're like, no, it's just your phone. Or it's just Siri has not learned you for all this time. And I've done every kind of algorithm to try to fix it. Doesn't work.
Thundera! That's what you need to say to that. Thundera! Did you say?
Thundera would be thunderstorms, maybe, which wouldn't be too bad. But no, she won't come up with that. She'll come with something completely beyond belief.
Call Lionel. Playing Lionel Richie on Spotify. So I think this is fantastic. Again, when is Panthro not coming up with a new invention to better themselves?
And here's another thing. So the last episode, Panthro does make mention to the fact that now that the mutants have this technology, that the shifting of power has begun. In other words, there's a shift, and Thundercats are not top dog anymore, no pun intended with the whole dog cat thing, but like they may be bested by the mutants because of the technology they have.
That's right, because the mutants were dealing with, as we saw, World War II gurneys, clubs, spears, things like that. Now they have flying apparatuses. And let's just say Vultureman, who we've only seen once by this point, is an inventor, and this will come in handy for him as well, this technology. So, meanwhile, Lion-O is perched atop the Mount of Anguish, remembering his home planet of Thundera. You know, when you think of a peaceful place to hang out for the afternoon. The Mount of Anguish. The Mount of Anguish. Jaga's spirit materializes and tries to console the nostalgic Lion-O. Jaga goes on to inform him about the Time Capsule, a special piece of equipment that was considered a nuclear optic crystal that contained the whole recorded history of Thundera. Thundercats had taken the capsule when they fled Thundera, but it was lost when the flagship crashed on Third Earth. Lion-O tells the other cats about the Time Capsule, but they once...
But I thought the old lady dropped it in the ocean in the end. Well, baby, I went down and got it. Oh, you shouldn't have.
That's right, it wasn't lost forever. And at once, they spread out and search for it. And despite being told to remain in the cat's lair, the Thunder Kittens sneak out as soon as the others are gone. David, I do love that we do get another flashback to when Thundera was exploding, so it's... You know, I mean, this is only 15 episodes in, but it's again reminding you of what happened, their planet exploded, that this was really like them fleeing. There's different routes that the Thundercats take. Tigra's chosen route takes him underground in the mines of the Mole Men.
Just hoping to find Silky again, are we?
Right? Why are they letting him go down these caverns? He's like, is there candy fruit left over? Just one more hit.
Is Silky there?
Oh, Silky. This is the mines of the Mole Men, where the timid creatures are frantically burrowing, and they kind of just go, burrow, gotta burrow. And Tiger's kind of like, well, you know, I'm looking for a time capsule. Do they know what that even is, Tigra?
That's what I was thinking the whole time. Like,
kind of like a, I don't even know, does he say like a
it's
silver?
It's a time capsule.
It's like this.
Burrow. Gotta burrow. Dig.
Excuse me, have any of you seen a time capsule? Kind of a box. I'm looking for a time capsule.
Burrow. Oh, burrow.
A breakdown in communication.
But all of a sudden, the tyrannical Mole Master emerges. With his
Mole
whip.
Master.
Master
Blaster runs Bonner Town. It's like Mad Max and Thunderdome with Tina Turner. I'm Mole Master.
Right, that's it.
A trespasser in the minds of the Mole Men. You will pay for this.
He's like a giant mole himself, and he is the Mole Master. He sends all the mole men scampering into burrows to hide. Angered at the presence of a trespasser in his domain, the Mole Master strikes Tiger with his whip. So I wrote here that they have a whip-off, because they're kind of like whipping each other with their whips. But Tiger's whip is flaming now all of a sudden.
I think Tiger's whip has been flaming for a long time.
But yeah, now it's literal flame, and he disperses the
I don't want to
Mole
say
Master.
nothing. Maybe Tiger knows the Blue Oyster Bar is down the block. Maybe that's why he's going to the
Is it underground with the mole?
to the
men?
mole. Maybe Mole Master's one of his exes.
Behind you.
Mole Master! Gotta burrow. So yes, using his more powerful bolo whip, Tiger easily frightens the Mole Master, sending him fleeing.
And he's like, not so fun when on the receiving end, or something like that. He kind of said.
Yeah, Yeah, Tigra. After this, he tries to again get some of the information from the mole men about the time capsule, but to no avail. And then he says something like this: never respect a favor for a favor. I don't think they understand you, Tigra. I don't think they understand you.
I would have drawn a picture of it and just at least brought it with me. Have you seen this?
Have you seen this? That's right. In the meantime, Lion-O's selected path takes him straight to the River of Despair, where the lurking Black Widow shark prevents him from crossing.
What is that?
That, my young friend, is the Black Widow shark. She lies in wait for anyone who tries to cross the River of Despair.
Here we go. The female unicorn keeper comes to his aid, and using a special crystal ball, she forms the bridge of light across a body of water. David, so there's a whole thing to get this bridge to get going. The unicorn has to get a diamond somewhere, bring it over to like this ceremonial looking bridge, drop it into the bridge, and it kind of makes this crystal bridge for them to cross, which is a great idea. But at the same time, there is this giant shark with crab arms.
Yes, it's Jaws with crab legs.
It's
King Crab legs at
King Crab
at Lobster Fest during Red Lobster's Lobster Fest, but it's Jaws with large crab legs.
And this thing is pissed. This shark is pissed.
It's the Black Widow shark. So this is what survived during the apocalypse of the first Earth, and so when we were gone, when they got rid of us, this is what got left over: giant seahorses and sharks with legs,
and Eureka's castle,
the
unicorn
keeper.
Do you notice that she runs the hell away as soon as this thing starts getting attacked? The bridge. She and the unicorn run. That's it. Sorry, Lion-O. I don't know if it's gonna collapse.
He knows about it because he tried to go through the River of Despair to swim across, and he sees it. So he knows. She does him a favor. She does him a solid and sinks the bridge. They leisurely stroll. And she goes, you need to hurry. The magic doesn't last that long. So if someone tells you that, would you leisurely stroll across, or would you run like your life depended on it? I don't know about you, but I would run as if there was no bridge. They could have been across before anything else happened, but of course they have to walk and talk and have dialogue and whatever and contemplate life. I would have ran so fast that the unicorn keeper, she would have said, damn you fast.
Instead of running away when he's falling down, being attacked by the creature.
Yeah.
While that happens, Lion-O's attempt to shoot the shark with a bolt of the Sword of Omens only results in him further damaging the bridge, which I was kind of...
He said the light that cancels out the power of the sword.
And the two just managed to make it over to the side, because he was with Snarf, over to the other bridge.
Calling Chitara. Chitara, do you copy? Found anything?
No, Tigra. Nothing here except a few flowers.
Okay, I'll call Panthro.
So Chitara, when we come to her, she is just sitting down, David. She's sitting in the middle of a swampy area. They call her, but she's just like, oh no, nothing's here. Because she's just sitting, lounging down, Chitara. I love you.
Why do they always send me on these missions?
Unless she could have been running for a while and she was just taking a rest in a swamp. But yes, however, a sea serpent comes and attacks her.
It's a dragon. Let's be honest. It's a dragon. It looks like a dragon. It looks like a Japanese
classic
dragon. It looks like it looks like the dragon face from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, the dragon. Chitara says, "Let's see you deal with a little speed to the dragon." So she was not giving the dragon drugs.
She whips out some crystal meth and gives it to the dragon.
I got this from Tigra.
I got this from Silky.
Let's see how you deal with this. Chitara's searching that, however, she manages to outwit the slimy reptile with her super speed.
And it bites itself.
And it bites its own tail. Panthro, meanwhile, ends up on a beach where he encounters the bad-tempered crabman who snaps his nunchucks in two. The crabman, David.
Well, first of all, he sees little tiny crabs and he's like, oh, they're carrying bones. How cute. And all of a sudden, Crabman.
Little does he know, these are men.
Who knew that Panthro had recently gone to Red Lobster for Lobster Fest.
Oh my gosh!
Because he still had on the little lobster bib and he could smell the sea biscuits, the Cheddar Bay biscuits that are still on his breath. And he was very offended that he ate one of his people. I'm just saying.
He gave him the claws. He gave him the FU claws.
Yeah. He's just in it.
Instead of fighting the mindless beast, Panthro chooses to flee in the Thunder Tank.
And it runs after him!
And it gives him, literally, it's going, eh, like,
and it runs after him, and then he jumps on the Thunder Tank. And Panthro's like, nah, I'm putting up the glass. Bye. I'm not letting the air conditioning out. Bye. Yeah, because this sunroof, he's closing the moon roof.
He literally ran. Yeah, the Crabman ran like he was a Dawn of the Dead remake zombie chasing after.
Yeah, he was running.
I always like to bring up when the Thundercats reboot, the latest Thundercats Raw, incorporate things from the old series. So they had the Crabmen, and they had an episode where the Thundercats went to the beach, and the Crabmen were attacking them continuously, and they just didn't want to fight them back. And then it turned out that that's how the Crabmen play with each other, and they just wanted to play with the Thundercats and hang out. Basically abuse and beat each other up as their form of entertainment. So, the Crabmen have a comeback.
Well, at least Panthro didn't get crabs.
We'll find out next week after he takes the test. Also, the Thunder Kittens almost end up becoming bait for the Black Widow shark, even though they narrowly escape becoming fish food. The shark manages to crash one of their spaceports in its powerful jaws, leaving the twins with just one board between them. So I guess now it's balancing correctly. So Lion-O and Snarf are looking around, and David, this part, Snarf is attacked by a rock creature? I wrote this because I love this. Lion-O attacks the rock creature with the sword for a second, and he just says, "Set him free!" The rock creature drops him and turns back into a rock.
Maybe it's a docile rock creature.
Just said bye? Okay.
Maybe just wanted to play with the cat.
Squeeze Snarf to the point that he couldn't even speak, because he's like, "Tell me about Thundera, Snarf." And he's like, "Come on, I can't hear you. Why are you mumbling?" And Snarf is being choked out by this rock. He turns around and notices, oh, okay. But yeah, the Rockman just frees Snarf just like that. Meanwhile, Lion-O and Snarf notice a sparkling object in the not-so-distant cave. Using the Sword of Omens, he confirms that it is indeed the Time Capsule, and he summons his friends to his location before heading into the cave. Unfortunately,
but he says there's no way that they could have just neatly put itself.
Which is true. That's a good point. I mean, Lion-O might be 13, but he's got a good brain on his head. Unfortunately for him, the cave happens to be the home of a savage caveman who claims the capsule for himself. Is he savage, though?
Well, the funny thing is, it's very much similar to the people that we see every day in our lives. I'm glad to see that the human population survived this third apocalypse or fourth apocalypse, that there's still cave people, because I know a lot of people that act like cave people.
But do you love, though, that the cave people remained in that caveman state, but other people on Third Earth, including the warrior maidens, smart, intelligent, have their own kingdom.
Great hair products.
Great outfits.
Loins of London. I mean loincloths.
Loins of London. Using gestures, the caveman challenges the young lord to an arm wrestling match.
But it is ours. We need it, and we're going to take it.
He wants you to arm wrestle.
If I win, you'll give me the capsule?
with the capsule as a prize. Snarf's like, he wants to arm wrestle you.
Wasn't there a movie with Sylvester Stallone where he was a professional arm wrestler?
That's right, about arm wrestling. Was this around the same time?
I don't know. I just found out that parts of Rocky, the original Rocky, when he was running down the street, was really just them illegally filming him running down the street. And when the guy throws him an orange, it's actually just a real shopkeeper throwing this running guy an orange in the street.
You're kidding me. That's
that
cool.
scene with Rocky when he was training and stuff. That's literally, they just said, we're going to film from the back of a van and you're going to run down the street.
Sounds like a good movie production.
Let's get ready to rumble!
So Aliono agrees, and after a lot of effort, he succeeds in defeating his much larger and stronger opponent. The other Thundercats who had arrived while the match was in progress, Tiger goes up to him, and I don't know what Tiger was going to do. Massage on his neck, because what was he going to do? Pull his arm the other way?
He's going to go, you can do it, Rocky! I'm Burgess Meredith.
Aliono says, no, I took his challenge, not you. So this is again showing you,
accountability. He has to stand on his own 2 feet. He takes his responsibility seriously. Yada, yada, yada.
Snarf says, look at the size of him! About the caveman. He was shocked by the size, but the caveman, once Aliono wins, does he
just him, take it.
I don't think he's as savage.
They could have made friends. Give him a piece of candy fruit, something.
The Thundercats help Lionel load the capsule into the tank and head home with it. Before this, the Thunder Kittens do show up, and Panthro says to them, I told you never to ride 2 on 1 board, but they kind of have to admit that they got into trouble after lying. But Panthro says that he will rebuild another board, and they are going to have a week's punishment of just staying in the cat's lair.
Cleaning all litter boxes.
Oh my god, yeah, that was the part that they left out. And then Chitara says, can I ride your board back home? And takes off.
Mind if I ride your board back?
She's like, I'm not running anymore.
Which I think is cool, and they didn't need to add that in.
Why did you marry her? You're in love with her, obviously.
Listen, it would never work out between the two of us.
You're into lizard people.
And she's into fitness. She does an aerobic class, and I can't be part of that. So, David, I really like this episode. It's not an action-packed episode by any means, but we see that the official moral is a person's sense of identity includes identification with social, ethnic, and radical religious... Wait, what is it? Let me read what this actually says. I don't think this has anything to do with the plot. Children learn to develop positive, radical, and ethnic group identifications, which provide them with
radical?
Not radical. Positive, radical, and ethnic group identifications, which provide them with self-esteem. Caveman?
No, he's talking about the time capsule. So the moral of the story is you have to know where you came from in order to know where you're going, I guess, so to speak.
Right.
Obviously, traditions and values and morals that are handed down from generation to generation do shape us as people. So does trauma, bad things that happen.
And Lionel will now be able to see parts of Thundera that he didn't see or doesn't remember, which is wonderful.
Hopefully
and
some blueprints or some technology.
Ooh.
Maybe Grandma Jaga's chocolate chip cookie recipe. Something, anything.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. This was another week of Thundercats Reviews here on the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. You can always reach us at Universal Appeal 2020, all one word for David, and the Radical Retro Rewind podcast, one word, on Instagram. We're also on YouTube, and where you can find most podcasts.
If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do.
If anyone is inspired to make their own time capsule, I feel like this is a lost art. Maybe this will bring someone to make something, and not in an iPhone case. Box.
But there never seems to be enough time to do the things we want to do once we find them. I don't even know if I'm singing the right lyrics, but alright, whatever.
9 to 5 now. So time capsules and time capsules.
Everybody, I say time, you say capsules.
I think that was great. So goodbye, everybody.